Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian from Tribeca Trade Group, and it is Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy weekend. It is the 9th, and this is your end of day and end of week video. So, first things first, risk disclaimer. Everything that we're going through here is for information purposes only, not giving out any recommendations or advice, education purposes only. Here is my profile. If you're not a member of Tribeca Trade Group, you can go ahead and you can click this link. You can be a part of an exceptional community of traders. Really, overall, nice week, and I'll get to the week's performance. But I think a lot of pleased traders at the Tribeca Trade Group. Really, we work together very well as a group. So if you're not already doing something like that, where you've got a nice group to kind of talk over some trade ideas and discuss the overall market, I think that is the value that we bring to traders every day. So we also do. I got a question about this earlier, so I might as well just talk about it really quick. Another feature that we do, and I just don't talk about what we do on a daily basis, but every morning at 9:05 we do a pre-market session where we go over charts. We go over any of the major developments that have occurred overnight. We talk about that at 9:05 in the morning. I do a macro review, and then we talk about names like LOVU today. Love, really nice performance today. That got an upgrade today, but this was one of the names that we talked about pre-market. Big volume, big breakout. Tremendous looking move, and that's one hell of a lovely looking breakout for the day. That's kind of what you want to see. A lot of information or a lot of talk about volume. That's where you want to see volume on a big breakout like that in a stock. Not so much in the indices, but that's been going around for the last couple of weeks. Oh, it's no, there's not good volume in the indices. I made a joke earlier that you have to give the money back if it's not good volume in the indices. At the end of the day, it doesn't. I've seen some of the best rallies occur when Nasdaq and S&P volume is the lowest, right, in the indices and in the ETFs. We see a lot of big volume when that happens, when we have volatility. But anyway, real nice move, and this was a nice chart that we discussed in the pre-market session. And then what also we do is we review charts, right? So we go through, I talk about the system that I use, the MarketWebs indicator, where we look at volume at price, and we do a lot of chart studies, for members. We do that 1 o'clock Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So that's just a little bit about what we do at the Tribeca Trade Group and some of the features of membership. So that said, let's get into the price action once again. Another big ramp at the end of the day. So we saw this yesterday too. Another another stellar move. So why is this occurring like this? Well, a lot of orders have to happen at the close. They need the mark of the close, right? We've talked about this a little bit before when this happens, but I'll just rehash here for a quick 15 seconds. Mutual funds, right? When it's very different than trading. ETFs trade all day long, but the older product mutual funds. If you invest in those in like your 401k plan, your IRA, right? Because most family of funds that are offered inside 401k plans are mutual funds, right? So if you do any purchasing, in a mutual fund, they don't execute that order throughout the day. They only execute it on the close. So what happens is, and that's why you hear about MOC imbalances, a lot of that is because of what mutual funds are doing. Also, some institutions too tie a lot of their orders to the close too, but it's a lot of mutual fund orders. So they aggregate all those buy and sell orders and they put them all in the close. So brokers execute those orders for them, for the big mutual funds, and they have a little bit of discretion whether they put the whole order on the close to guarantee that print, or if it's a big print. If it's a big order, then they trade into the close, right? So when I used to sit in that seat as an institutional investor, if I could see that there was a big order coming my way that was tied to the close, what I would do is leg into that order starting around 3:30, and then ramping it in, a little bit more 3:40. 345, 350, because what happens is if you do put the whole order on the close and it's a big order, you will really skew the close around, which is kind of like what we're seeing here. So impressive, if you're just kind of sitting and holding, but this move happening, in the last hour. So we just haven't seen that a lot of times, recently. Sometimes it's more profit taking at the end of the day, but hey, last few days, that's the way it's been. All right, so let me just go over the performance, the rundown for the performance. By the way, if the video is blurry for any reason that you see, it's because YouTube has not finished rendering the video. They take a while to do a high def video, so if you don't like the blurriness, just close and give it a half hour or an hour, and it should be crystal clear. All right, so S&P did finish up almost 1% for the day. Just crazy because we were flat most of the day. Or just barely positive. The Qs, they rallied the most intraday, 1%. They were kind of all over the place again. Right? If we look at the after hours move in the Qs, it's interesting. We got back to where we were in the overnight session. For some reason, the NASDAQ futures were really rallying up until about like 10 o'clock last night. And then they started to dive. We did get PPI information, producer price index, which indicates that there's some a little bit more inflation than what's been, what the Fed has been talking about. And that data seems to be coming out in that PPI and CPI report, finally. But here's the reversal. This was at 9:10 this morning. We rallied a little bit, back and forth action, and then managed to really kind of finish where this was, in the overnight session. So nice, really nice intraday performance. IWM also finished just barely flat for the day. IWM did finish down for the week, but a lot of sideways action, and there's been a range to trade a couple days this week too, in the small cap ETF. So that's that. Bonds were really not in the picture this week. Again, what I like to call is back and forth action. Right, a couple days we looked like we were going to break down. We rallied yesterday. This morning, 9 o'clock this morning, we kind of touched the lows, and that was the low of the day at 9 in this morning. So yields really hung in there, and finishes just slightly down for the session. But you can see this on the 1 hour chart, and this is one of the things that I was rooting for, is this sideways action in the bonds. And even if we do begin to kind of trend back down in bonds and yields go higher, at least now the market has kind of absorbed some of this higher rates. We've now been going sideways that's the third week in a row, looking on the 1 hour chart. Right, we got back above this trend line 3 weeks ago, and have just been kind of straddling that trend line for the last 3 weeks. So that's a good thing. Bonds just chilling out, not doing much, not a factor. If you're an equity investor, you're, I would say, rooting for that. Even a little bit of a rally would help, I think, a bit. So that's the price action for today. What was particularly strong, and here's the VIX, by the way, too. VIX was down. What was particularly strong today was anything retail and home builders. The home builders finished up 2.6% for the day. Very strong if you look across some of these home builders. NVR. Again, this is a tough one to trade, because it's a $4,000 stock, believe it or not. But this is one of the nicest home builder charts. Lennar was strong. The whole group, right? Lennar had a nice day, up 3%. I like this Toll Brothers chart. Right, it's not really extended, but did make a brand new high today. Right, TPH was one name that I was talking about over the weekend. It did okay this week, not any crazy performance, but was up 2.2% for the week. DHI had a big day too. Overall very strong. Also, what we talked about, speaking of the pre-market sessions, I talked about one group that I thought would be pretty good within housing, which is flooring companies. So if you look at Floor and Decor, whew, nice breakout here, right? And we talked about this whole group. The other one, I got the wrong symbol. What is this thing called? I always forget this one symbol, and I even talked about it earlier. I'll come back to it because I thought it was ATEK. Nope. Uh, oh, I'm drawing a blank. But the other one is Trex or AZEK, I think it is. Right, another one. Right, so there's three of them that I look at. Right, this is the second one. This is I believe a Chicago-based company. Big day, up 2.7%, and then Trex, which is what I added today. I like this Trex chart. Nice little consolidation here last couple days and a break higher. And I'm looking for Trex to maybe get back up to around this 102, 103 area, right? So that's my price target for this name. But yeah, really, really nice. I tried some Restoration Hardware today, but it looks like it did close, with everything right around the high of the day. But I like this little consolidation. I know this is another high price stock, but it did manage to get above value. Watch for this name to make more new highs next week, but all in all, really strong. And then if you look at some other just regular retail names, Ralph Lauren had a nice day. Estee Lauder broke out. This was a name that we talked about earlier in the week. I tried trading this one for some reason. Maybe one day I didn't like the close and I took the trade off, but overall the setup looks pretty good, and it is out to new highs. Option activity, Gap saw a lot of calls today, up 3.3%. Macy's looks like a nice turn as well. This name has been kind of quiet, but up 3.5%. Another name that finished, like many names, on the highs of the day. So really strong. I could go through like 10 or 15 other consumer type names, consumer retail type names, but because there's so many of them that were very strong today, and that was one of the trends that we picked up early on in the trading room today. Also, tech was the best performer of the week. Right, here's this week's performance. By the way, I like to review the weekly performance once we get there, right? And tech, internet, they were both up about 4% for the week. Consumer discretionary was up 3.9%. There's the XRT that I mentioned, and the home builders both up around 3% for the week. Financials were strong. Industrials felt like they took a little bit of a breather this week, but still up 2% for the week. Right? Consumer staples, so pretty decent breadth. But then when you look at what didn't perform, so I guess I can't say decent. I would say, let me rephrase this. Decent breadth for more of your most of your risk on areas. Your tech, your consumer discretionary, a lot of this consumer discretionary, industrials, and financials. What didn't perform, really didn't perform, was your energy, XOP. That really had a nasty week, down 8% for the week. And I thought this had a chance earlier in the week. Right, if we look at this, right, I think this was in here. 1, 2. So I guess this was last week. We started to kind of turn and go back, and then we had a nasty candle here, and since then this group and sector have been pretty weak. Right, also the clean energy names. Also biotech. I can't really figure out why biotech is so weak. The IBB ETF was down 1.8%. I don't know if I have XBI in here, but this is a mystery to me. I don't know why this group is so weak, and I usually think that this is a bit of a warning signal when we see biotech do this and the rest of the market is going up. But I don't know. Maybe there's just something I'm not understanding, or but look at the biotech group go down 2.2% on an up day. So it's very odd to see that, but this market has been sometimes a bit odd. Let's see for the week, because I don't think I have the performance of that. Let's see what XBI did for the week. Let's put this in because I'm interested, because this may have been, besides energy, probably your next worst performer. So if we put in the first 2021, not 2031. Yeah, down 5.4% for the week, the XBI ETF. So worse than your larger biotech, which is IBB. So interesting there. So that was worse than clean energy and solar, which both finished down 4%. Pot stocks, which came back a little bit today, still down 2.5% for the week. So definitely there wasn't all winners this week, and that was something that I noticed a couple times, including this week. When you look at market breadth, right, you did not have today, and even if you look on the left of the screen, even with the market ramping, you still saw weaker breadth. It was positive for NYSE, but look at the NASDAQ. 1,627 decliners versus 1,282 advancing names. I think, so if we look at those sectors, probably a lot of these decliners are biotech and energy, but an odd two to look at it, as well as clean energy, right? S&P was better, 362 advancers, 140 decliners, and the Dow was pretty strong today. The Dow, by the way, I was sitting on some long position of DIA. I got out of that position today. Very very strong. A little bit of consolidation most of this week, and then another leg higher here on Friday. So that's the performance. So I'll just show this to you again. It's performance for the week. SPY was up 2.7%. There's the diamond performance. Big outperformance by the Qs, up 3.9%. There's the small caps, which I mentioned ended up down for the week. And emerging markets also down. Developed international markets up for the week. TLT, like I said, non-factor. Gold was up slightly for the week. What else? I wanted to talk about just a couple other names here, and then we'll end this video. But I think we talked about most. Did I mention Apple? Sorry if I'm drawing a blank here. But Apple looks like I took my Apple trade off. 130 was my price target, and I mentioned if we could get over Apple. If we could get over this version point of control, right, which originates from back here, that we could move on to the next one, which is 136, and then also this. You got a version point of control at 135. So I think that's where Apple gets to, 134, 135. So pretty interesting. I think I did go over Apple, but I didn't go over Amazon. Amazon very strong today. That little hesitation at that, this took out a version point of control. Very strong to see these names just leap over these version point of controls like that, and was up 2.2% for the day. I did structure a trade for next week, and I actually was able to get the target today. I put that on pretty early. Amazon, this is the way I like to play Amazon, by the way. Stock is difficult. I think the calls are too pricey for me. So I do a lot of call spreads for Amazon. Sometimes $10, sometimes $15 or $20, but I do a lot of $10 wide call spreads. I like to get in them for around right around this price, maybe a little bit cheaper. Sometimes around 360 if I can get in there. But I did take a target here for 540, right? And I got the next piece on for leaving it on for next week. I didn't know that we were going to get such a big move, obviously. Otherwise, I could have just played something. I could have played a call spread for today that would have made full bank on it. So I don't know. Maybe I need to reevaluate that strategy, but. Usually that just doesn't happen for Amazon, especially on a Friday. Remember, for a number of Fridays, Amazon would be super weak. It would dump into the close. I think that trend is over with for the time being. JP Morgan, I thought, listen, I thought the financials were going to have a great day today. I've been long, and they did finish up close to 1%, but I got out of I've been sitting with some long XLF calls. I got out of them today. I got long JP Morgan earlier in the week, so I'm still long a portion of that. I'll probably hold that to earnings, but nice move by JP Morgan today. So I was able to hit some profit targets in some short-term options that I've got. So 460, 390, and I'm holding the balance there. Las Vegas, it's funny, sometimes I get right out of a trade and then we'll see a whole bunch of call action in a name. Las Vegas Sands saw a whole bunch of calls today, but this was a name that I hit one target with, and sometimes when they go back to the cost basis, I get out of the trade, which is what I did here, and Las Vegas Sands. I tried the. Speaking of another group that's really has been really weak, Chinese internet names. They continue to trend down. I tried because we saw all this call action in VIPS, but you know, as I always say with call activity, it's just an idea for me. If it's not going right, if price is the number one indicator for me. So just because I see calls in something, if price is leaning to the downside, I cut the trade, and that's what I did with VIPS. But yeah, I haven't really been doing too much in the Chinese internet group because it just looks too difficult right now. Too many names are trending down within that group. CPR. Oh, this was I knew that there was one area that I left out, but I got long some Capri holdings yesterday. That trended up to top of value. I did take a target in that today. The other one, which it's funny because I put the CPRI position on yesterday. Today we see calls in Tapestry, right, which has had a lovely trend. Came in here, consolidated a little bit, and almost back out to new highs. Handbags, very strong. All right, just to walk you through the rest of the trades. Again, I was in kind of, my thought was to take some risk off today, given the run that we've seen since the beginning of the month. But I don't know. There's no, like I said in the Q&A session earlier, we don't have, while we are getting a bit extended here, the RSI is now a 72 on the S&P daily chart. We don't have a sell signal, right? So I know sometimes what traders do is they try to anticipate when a sell signal is coming rather than the actual sell signal. But, I could tell you right now, the fact of the matter is, yes, we are a bit overbought, 72 RSI, but we have no sell signal, right? Price, in fact, is trending, right? And that's why I have the 5-period moving average on my charts. It is telling us right now that the market is trending. So we'll see when that stops. And if you feel a little bit uneasy because you think that we're getting a bit overbought, what I do is take some profits, take some money off the table, and that's what I did a little bit of today. But I'll tell you, it's not easy. It's not easy to do it because we're still seeing some really nice setups, and it's one of those things that you have to balance, right? As a trader, how much risk you want to have it, in the market versus how much you want to be kind of having some dry powder on the sidelines and perhaps waiting for the next little market consolidation. But I'll tell you, when the market does this, this is where, in my opinion, this is where I do really well. When the market trends, I do well. And I try to stick in the trend for as long as I can. Sometimes I get out of some things a little bit too early, like Apple. But for the most part, that's okay. It's a gain. There's nothing wrong with a gain. All right, guys. So that's it for this week's video. We didn't cover every sector, every group, but we'll do more of that in the member videos this weekend. Again, if you're not a member of Tribeca Trade Group, we do 2 videos on the weekend. I do 1 video depending on how much there is to talk about, but sometimes it's 20 minutes, sometimes it's 50 minutes, depends on, and that's the macro video. And then the second video is the watch list trade, which did decently this week. That's our second type of trade. I manage 3 different accounts. I manage a trading account, right, which is about the largest account. I have the TTG Trend Portfolio, which we did a rebalance in that today. We kicked out a couple names, sectors, and added some names. That's more of my longer term trend account. And then we have a weekly watch list trade where I put together a watch list every weekend, and I buy it on Monday morning, hold it through the week, and then sell it on Friday, substitute into SPY, hold SPY over the weekend, and then put the new trade on Monday. So those are the 3 programs that we have at Tribeca Trade Group. All right, guys, have a great weekend, and I'll see you back on Monday.